goes. Well, I didn't want to make this video because I don't really like following tons of hype trains and all of that stuff, but I was seeing some interesting content out there. Some was a little confusing. There's tons of drama around this camera, and I really don't understand why, because I could see why this camera exists and actually is a killer to a lot of other cameras that don't offer as much quality or features as the Lumix S9. Welcome to the channel. My name's Anthony. We talk a lot about lighting, production, real world use cases, whether it's behind the scenes or anything like that, to make your life easier as a filmmaker. And now for a camera that's unnecessarily controversial, the Lumix S9. If you haven't heard about it, it's a compact Lumix camera that has the same exact sensor as the S5 II that I'm filming on right now. And it has this Fuji X100V killer film simulation thing that's inside of it that they already sort of had in the S5 II, which is the real-time LUT. Except now, they made a whole app to make everything easier. You can customize it even more. You could actually add film grain in there, which is beautiful and so useful. But for some reason, there are so many people complaining about this camera. And I don't know, it's really just annoying. So hopefully this video clears up some of that. If you get offended by it, honestly, it doesn't really matter that much to me because this camera's just not for you. Using cameras, making videos and commercials is actually my job, and I would buy this camera if I didn't already have this one, which is the Ricoh GR3X. It's just a everyday carry, easy to shoot photos. Everything looks good coming straight out of camera with this camera. I will be making a video on this. That's besides the point. This camera is not supposed to be a competitor to the S5 II. It's basically the same thing. So why is that important? Why does that even matter? Why would you buy this over an X100V or a Leica or whatever? Because it has a full frame sensor. It has the best IBIS in the business. The colors straight out of camera are incredible. The dynamic range in the actual camera is just as good as the S5 II, which is ridiculous. I choose this camera over most of my cinema cameras half the time because it's easier and has pretty close to the same exact image quality. And the key difference that makes this camera better than any of the other point and shoot, whatever hipster cameras out there, is the fact that it has these features, but also does everything that those other film simulation cameras can do with way more flexibility. So I don't know why anybody's complaining. I was disappointed too when they announced the Lumix S9. I was hoping it was gonna be something different, but this camera does have a place in the market. And honestly, I wish it did come out before I bought this camera because it would have knocked two birds with one stone. I would have been able to have a B cam to the S5 II, even though it only has a 10 to 20 minute record time. I don't care. They're probably gonna get rid of that with firmware, but to have that and be able to take those good straight out of camera JPEGs is worth its money. This cost $1,200 and the Lumix S9 cost $1,500. So for 300 bucks, I could have had a B cam as well as a straight out of camera, cool hipster, everyday carry thing. It just blows my mind. It shoots open gate, has all that dynamic range, best IBIS, and there's still a ton of complaining. I will mention a couple points that I personally have gripes about, and I do think they're very valid. Other people's points are valid, even if I don't share them. That's not the point. I'm not the end all be all of opinions with cameras, but these are my opinions. So the price point, I think, is a little silly, personally. It doesn't have the viewfinder. The actual camera body isn't metal and magnesium or whatever like the Lumix S5 II, and it's only $200 less. That personally doesn't make sense to me. If it was $1,200 or even $1,300, I think it would make more sense to more people as opposed to just buying an S5 II, which again, other people would make sense for if they're content creators or they don't even have a camera and this is their first camera and want to take good photos and have the video quality. And then this is my biggest gripe, which is annoying, but could be fixed with third party. Maybe Lumix will, I don't know, do something about it. And that is the pancake lens that they came out for this camera. F8 to me doesn't make too much sense. I don't care if I'm doing street photography. I don't care if it's just an everyday carry. I like being able to have some background separation, or if I'm in, God forbid, I'm in low light, that F8 is gonna absolutely destroy me. So I wish they came out with something that was slightly better. The Fujifilm shoots at f2. Yes, it's a crop sensor camera, so if you do the math, I guess it's like f2.8, f4 or something like that. There are even dirt cheap lenses like the Canon EF f2.8 40mm full frame lens that was doable 10 years ago. So I don't see why it wasn't doable, but again, I'm not an engineer. I don't really care to be one. That's just something that I really didn't enjoy. And it's one of the main reasons why I haven't purchased the S9, because I want it as a small everyday carry like this camera, even though this one's a lot smaller and will probably take the same pictures. I just really wanted to give a little bit more clarity on this camera because people are just complaining about a camera that's just not for them, which I think this camera's for basically everybody, but whatever, that's besides the point. I will be making a video on this Ricoh GR3X because it's an amazing little camera. It literally fits right in my pocket, super small. And I'll also be making a video on large light sources like this one right now that's lighting me. I'm personally on the hunt for a large modifier that's the easiest to set up and looks the best. So if you have any suggestions, please leave them down in the comments. Make sure you like this video and subscribe if you are interested in this future content. And that's everything for this one. I'll see you guys in the next video.